It's one of those things we all learn in school, but how many of us actually know why? Why on earth can't you divide by zero?
Right? It's a rule you've probably heard 1,000 times. Your teacher told you, your calculator gives you an error. It's just a known fact. You simply cannot divide by zero.
But here's the thing. This isn't just some random rule someone made up. It's fundamental. If we were allowed to break it, the entire structure of mathematics would start to fall apart. And I mean, things would get weird. Suddenly, 1 could literally become equal to 2.
So that's the big mystery we're unpacking today. This is a quick STEM curiosity from byte to terabyte. How can one tiny number, just one, have the power to completely break the logic of mathematics?
All right. To get our heads around this, let's start with something super simple and relatable. We'll call it the chocolate analogy. So, just imagine you've got 12 chocolates, and you want to share them equally with some friends who are coming over.
It's pretty straightforward, right? If 3 of your friends show up, each of them gets 4 chocolates. Simple division. If 4 friends come, well, they each get 3. And if it turns out only 1 friend can make it, they get the whole jackpot, all 12 chocolates.
But now, here comes the big question. What happens if 0 friends show up? How do you share 12 chocolates with nobody? The very idea it stops making sense, doesn't it? The whole act of sharing can't even begin.
And that simple story with the chocolates, it points to a much deeper truth in mathematics. So let's look at the hidden question that division is really asking.
You see, we tend to think of division as its own operation, but it's not, really. It's just multiplication, but working in reverse.
So with that in mind, when we write down 12 divided by 0, what we're actually asking, sort of secretly, is this. What number times 0 gives you 12?
And this is exactly where we hit a brick wall. Just think about it for a second. Pick any number you can possibly imagine. 5, a million, a negative number, it doesn't matter. When you multiply it by 0, what do you get? You always get 0. You never get 12. So there is no number, not a single one in existence, that can answer that question. There's just no possible answer. Okay, but let's be rebels for a minute. What if we just said, forget the rules and tried to do it anyway? What happens if we just ignore this problem and push forward? Well, this is where logic itself just completely collapses.
So let's play pretend. Let's assume we can divide by 0. We'll write it out as an equation. Let's just say that 1 divided by 0 equals, well, some number. We'll just call it a for now. Okay, so if we have that equation, we can do some simple algebra, right? Let's just multiply both sides of that equation by 0. What we get is a new statement. 1 equals a times 0. And right there, the whole thing falls apart. Because we know a fundamental rule of math. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So that a times 0 part just becomes 0. Which means our equation now says 1 equals 0. And that's obviously not true.
And look, this isn't some weird trick that only works with the number 1. We can do the exact same thing with any other number. Let's say we assume 2 divided by 0 is possible, and we call the answer b. We follow the same logic, and we end up proving that 2 equals 0.
So here's the final mind-bending step. If our broken math system has proven that 1 is equal to 0, and it's also proven that 2 is equal to 0, then what does that mean? Well, if 2 things are equal to the same thing, they must be equal to each other. So it means 1 must be equal to 2. And that is the chaos. If 1 can equal 2, then what do numbers even mean anymore? They lose their identity. The entire system of mathematics, which is built on predictable, reliable rules, just stops working. You could prove anything is equal to anything else. So this brings us full circle. We can finally see the real reason for that rule. It isn't there to limit us. It's a rule of protection. It's a necessary boundary to keep math logical.
So that rule, you cannot divide by 0, it's not just some annoying thing to memorize for a test. It's actually a shield. It's protecting the very logic that allows math to make sense in the first place.
And believe me, this isn't just some abstract puzzle for mathematicians. This stuff matters in the real world, a lot. In computer science, if a program accidentally tries to divide by 0, it often just crashes. In physics, when equations lead to division by 0, it's often a huge red flag.
It can signal really extreme situations, like the center of a black hole, telling scientists that their model of reality is breaking down.
So next time you hear that rule or see that error on your calculator, you'll know what's really going on. It's mathematics putting up a guardrail, protecting the very idea that numbers are consistent and reliable. It's protecting the fact that 1 is always 1 and it can never, ever be 2.
Understand the idea, not just the formula. This is Byte to TeraByte.